people, and today we're going to talk about anxiety. Ama tuite stress imeomoka because last time we were talking about stress, and we're still having our amazing guest on set, Melody.
Hello.
Thank you so much for making time again.
Thank you too for having me again.
Yes. It's always a pleasure to always have you here. Yeah, and as they know, we've been talking about mental health. We've tackled stress, and today we'd like us to talk about anxiety as well. But before we get into all that, I'd like you to tell me how your week has been and all that.
I think my week has been good. I would say it hasn't been chaotic. I've been feeling good.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't complain. It has been amazing, I would say.
So you did not have to use any stress managing
Obviously,
techniques?
not only to manage stress, but pray again
Nice.
to keep it smooth.
Okay. That is okay. Yeah. That is nice.
So what about you?
My week has been okay. I'd say better than last week, actually.
See?
Yeah. But some few techniques were applied here and there. And yeah, I'm grateful that I'm here and that we're still doing this and that we're going to talk about anxiety, actually, because it's some of the things that I've seen people have been dealing with without saying anything about it.
Yeah.
So
or
I'm
even
sure,
understanding they're dealing with it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure this episode is going to really get some people to move out of their shell and at least try and get some ideas and help on this. Yeah. So like in a nutshell, like let's talk about anxiety. What is anxiety?
Anxiety.
Yeah.
I think it's a state of, in my own words, an extreme state of maybe panic.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess extreme, exaggerated and negative emotions.
Okay.
Yes. Anxiety.
Yeah, that's when you stress in your mocha.
Yes. An exaggerated reaction to a negative reaction to something, I believe. So, but I don't think it's a reaction that is voluntary. I think it's involuntary. Your body actually reacts.
You cannot have the control.
Yeah, you cannot have the control to know that I'm not supposed to be reacting this way. I should not be feeling the way I'm feeling.
True.
Yes. So I think it's just extreme response.
Feeling, yeah.
Yes.
That is nice. True. And like we can say also it's something that happens without like your body even realizing because it's involuntary.
Yes.
And let's say, how can someone know that maybe is having anxiety or maybe going through this disorder, but he doesn't really know what's happening?
But I think people can't know they're having anxiety until, of course, they go to a specific place where they are diagnosed and hey, this is a panic attack or it's an anxiety attack. You get? Because sometimes it's maybe not an anxiety attack. Sometimes it's probably maybe just seizures, because you realize maybe a panic attack may feel the same as an epileptic attack. You get? So probably maybe it's not an anxiety attack, maybe it's an epileptic attack. So I think you can only know when you get diagnosed. But I think now the feeling of having an anxiety attack, I think someone starts to question their response. Like I said, was I supposed to be that mad?
Overreacting.
Yes. Yes. No, but you see, a panic attack is not again overreacting. You get? Overreacting probably is could be voluntary. You would overreact to something. You get? But an anxiety attack is your body having its way with the situation without your consent.
But then you'll come and realize later on, maybe you could not have reacted in a certain way.
And I think even for you to have a panic attack, I think your mind actually knows that your body is reacting too much. So you're in the mode of question and fear, and you get...
So that means I wanted to ask this. So is it safe to say that anxiety can also result as a form of fear? You just fear from something imaginary.
Exactly. But in fact, anxiety, as I think something like anxiety, in fact, not even I think, I believe, according to some of the research I've done from all the studies I do with brain development, I think anxiety is actually caused by a specific thing in our brain. You get? And this thing that causes anxiety is the thing that is responsible for your fight and flight response. You understand? Naturally, all of us, when we see something like you're scared of, we will respond appropriately.
Definitely.
You see? Like mtu akigonga hii mlango na just by one punch. There's a way we will all react, right?
Yeah.
Appropriately. And then if a snake falls in here, there's also a way that we will react appropriately.
Yeah.
Great. So some may jump, others may get defensive and hold something to kill it, you get. That's because there's a part of your brain that is designed to make your body react like that, right? It's not up to you to react. That is why it's when you have ever felt like you're going somewhere, but your body suddenly is just like,
yeah, definitely.
You get.
Yeah.
You get.
Yeah.
So I think that your mind communicates to your body before you even know that your mind has communicated to your body. So even with an anxiety attack, there's a way that it gets to your brain, controlling your movement and your anything and your response to things.
Yeah.
You understand me, yeah? So it is actually a fear. It is mostly the thing that causes anxiety is the same thing that is associated with the fear. It's mostly associated with fear.
Okay. I get that. And like I want you to say, okay, I've been having anxiety attacks a few months back, let me say that. And you find that sometimes the reacting or the overreaction is the same way you're just saying, like doesn't really occur while your mind understands what is happening.
Yeah.
But then I came to realize that this thing happens because of some prolonged stress.
Yes, prolonged.
Because you find that something has been happening, but you've been sweeping it under the rug. Just like letting the amuna jambia, it will be okay, it will be fine. Only to come and realize that this happens because of the chemical reaction in the mind and because of that prolonged stress involved. But what made me understand that I was having these panics, some of these attacks, let's say, for example, the sweating of palms, like that, maybe the heart rate increases and all that. So you find that some of these things really, inafanya mpaka you want to like really understand, like, okay, what is really happening? Because if you try to look, something's really going on in my head, it's almost nothing.
Yeah,
but the body's
saying something. You know, your body is communicating different, and your mind is actually communicating different. It's like you're against your own mind. It's it's like your own mind is fighting you or something. It's, you know, you do not understand what to do.
You can't really tell what really happens.
Because even me, the first time I had a panic attack, it felt like that is the first time I was actually motivated to find out what was that.
Yeah.
How can my body just do that?
Yeah.
I'm the same person that if I get in trouble, my first thing that I would do is, by the way, I would cry.
Yeah.
You get?
Sure.
Like me nikikutwa tu nimekosa, I've done something wrong, you catch me.
Okay.
Thing I do would be to cry. You get? And that is something, it's an emotion, sindio?
Yeah, sure.
That I would control. I'd be like, sina otherwise hapa. Itabidi nifanye nini? Nianze kulia. So unatafuta mood za kulia, unaanza kulia. But you see now with an anxiety attack, now I'm against what I'm feeling.
Sure.
You get?
Yeah.
I'm like, no. I cannot be feeling the way I'm feeling. I do not want to feel the way I'm feeling. What is happening to my body? Exactly. How come my body is actually feeling? My body has never felt like this before. Sure. You get? Because you feel like the needles in your hands, and also the heart rate, and the confused temperature in the room. Is it cold? Is it hot? You know?
Definitely.
you know. So it makes you wonder what is happening to my body, you know. And I think anyone that has gotten stress all the way to anxiety goes ahead to find out what was that, because it's one of the strangest things that can happen to somebody. Exactly. It's like physical emotions.
Sure, definitely. And before we even talk about maybe the types of anxiety, since we've been talking about the causes kidogo, we cannot ignore the fact that it could be also generational as well.
Yeah.
Because one thing I know, anxiety cannot really happen because of poor upbringing or because of someone's lifestyle or character. It's something that happens. Maybe one of those people that some people just find themselves there having their attacks, but they don't really understand what is really happening. So I think it's also safe to say that it's also generational, it's hereditary. So, and most people who are prone to this are people who may be having health problems, like the heart diseases and stuff, because of the heart rate and all those. So I think that also plays a major role in people who are being affected with anxiety as well.
Yeah.
Not really stress or whatever.
True.
Yeah. And speaking of the types of anxiety, we've spoken about you just feeling like the body's overreacting for no reason and all that. But I understand there's different types of anxiety. And one thing that people don't really know it's an anxiety attack is phobia.
Phobia
For
of what?
something.
Phobia.
Someone maybe kuna mtu akiona maybe let's say nyoka ama kisikia story about
like
a
me
certain
and
thing.
cows.
Exactly.
I feel a certain way when I'm around cows.
Yeah.
Like I would very, very rare occasions would you find me walking past a cow because I was like, hi, Tanigonga. You know, someone like, hi, I'd be like, there's a first time for everything. Let's not. Because, you know, I would come, nikuja niseme nitapita around here. But nikishafika, I'm like, no.
No. Inakataa.
Inakataa. Your body cannot let you pass. Because in fact, unaanza kusikia like, start even imagining the way this cow is just coming towards.
Yes.
Like, ushaanza kuimagine vile itakufanyia. And your body is starting to react by already shaking. Sijui unasikia utoroke.
Exactly.
You get
that fear. You don't really know what's going to happen, but you don't really want to face it. So I think
phobia is a type of anxiety.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because let's say, for example, if you're someone who you like to be a financially literate person, or let's say you like to be responsible, you avoid debt and all those things. You find that there's some people who really fear when they just scare Denny. These people can really be shaken.
Yeah.
So like it's a you don't really know what will happen if you have that Denny, but you already fear the Denny itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we all have different types of anxieties without even knowing that this is anxiety.
Yes. Because like I think for phobia, most of the time we just say what tunasema kama story. Like, hey, mimi na maybe relationships, for example, ama mimi with this and this cannot work with me. If you ask someone, have you tried it? No, I haven't tried this. And you just find that it's natural. Anytime it happens, you just find yourself fearing some things, evil. And it's a bit different, but you find when it comes to, let's say, this other type of anxiety, like the general one, for example, whereby you just feel like your emotions is not in balance, things are just not moving, you do not understand the reactions of your body and all that. So you find that some of these symptoms are kind of similar, but you won't really tell.
You won't really tell, and you also won't even call them the same thing. You'd be calling it different names and associating them with different, medical situations. Actually,
sure.
Yeah.
So have you ever met people who have dealt with such type of anxiety and they didn't even know that this is anxiety? Even if you tell them this is any anxiety, have you met such people?
Well, I guess me now. Because I didn't even know that fear of cows is an anxiety. But I do have a hard time really. I don't. I give up as soon as I'm close to passing that. I'm like, no, my body's not allowing me to do this. Imekataa. Alafu unajua unaangaliana hivi na hiyo ng'ombe macho hivi hadi you see the fear. And funny thing, even in my nightmares, if I'm having a nightmare and something most of my nightmares have cows in them.
Of which that is also a symptom, but the mental symptom.
So I didn't know that. You see, I didn't know that was some sort of an anxiety. I think considering it's also a fear, I believe it is an anxiety, and also these people that are afraid of being locked in rooms. You get?
Sure.
Is it called claustrophobia?
But we can say maybe social anxiety.
Social anxiety. No, kuna huyu mwenye
Tumeenda how many minutes so far? Kwanza before tushtukie.
Tuangalie kwa nini 14.
14. I have seen. I have seen. 14. Hata ilikuwa the perfect place nilikuwa nikwambia niambie ni break here. Unaenda wapi Ken? Light na Gine. Press okay. Yeah.
Okay.
You good?
I'm good.
To continue. Pick up from a claustrophobia.
Yeah. As you see, there's this particular people, when you lock them somewhere, like CRTE, actually there's other people in a room, actually social anxiety. There's someone when akiwa locked in a room with no way to leave that room. even if it's just for like an hour or 30 minutes. Sasa hiyo 30 minutes for them inakaa like a lifetime. Anakwambia I cannot be in this room because I feel like the walls are going to come in, and if anything goes wrong I won't be able to get out of this room and save myself. So anaanza kupanic before even anything before it happens. Huyu ni mtu mwenye akipoteza kifunguu na ako ndani ya nyumba, anything can happen. Yani huyu ni mtu anaweza panic vibaya hadi
definitely
you know na
yeah.
So that's also some type of anxiety that I know of,
which works I think similarly, but now in the opposite direction with not separation actually, social anxiety. There's some people, if you place them katikati ya watu wengi, these people will really fumble. They won't do anything. If you just tell them like, okay, yo, we're doing this and this and this, ebu tuende huku, then akisikia tu ni place kuna watu, this person just panics.
Anashindwa kabisa,
exactly, because he doesn't know or she doesn't know what can do akiwa pale hivyo, because maybe ako so used to having specific people around here ama being alone, maybe.
Yes.
So the fear of like maybe being out there with so many people, what will happen? How will things go? Like how am I supposed to react to things? Do this and
but
this.
But that is a fear of an outcome which is not even there because the situation is not even happening in the first place.
You're just anxious about it.
Unaona, because hata bado hujaanza the thing that you're afraid of, that hawa watu already wata react to what, and you haven't even done that what yet. You get but that must be a very bad type of anxiety, because already you're afraid of an outcome.
Exactly.
Before you're not even afraid of a performance, of a situation. You're afraid of an outcome. You ushata skip situation, ukaenda
umefika kwa results, you already have your own.
How ndo sasa wale wanarukanga to conclusions.
Usha have jibu yako, results kwa kichwa. Definitely.
That must be difficult. So how does someone get out of that one?
Well, we'll get to that because we're still talking about some of these types of anxiety. And then we'll come back to how we can manage, cope, and how to deal with all this. Because there are some of these things, you find like different types of anxiety, they don't really resonate with someone the same way. You find that someone will react differently to this and something else. For example, let's talk about panic attacks, for example. It's just a sudden feeling of you being overwhelmed with so many things at the same time, or maybe even one specific thing, and it just happens and throws you off balance. And someone else maybe will take time for that person to have that panic attack. Maybe another think about something through, or maybe find how to handle that in a different way. So I think it reacts differently to people, but I wanted you to share a bit of your experiences with the attacks, with the panic attacks especially, because it's also a type of a disorder, anxiety disorder. Also. So shed a bit of light on panic attacks as well.
Me, on panic attacks, what I would say is, first of all, the time I actually now started to understand what was happening to my body for me to have a panic attack. Truth be told, I kind of started to heal and to not have as many panic attacks because now I knew what was happening. So I started to be in control of my mind somehow. Although what happens in the mind is, of course, it's uncontrollable because it's the mind, it's the one that is controlling. But when you start to be aware of the situations around you, for you to be keen, and I think it reduces the panic attacks. Like I said, let me explain this. Let me see if I can explain this in a language that is not very scientific. To me, examples, So you see, in our body, we have an enzyme called cortisol, right? It's a stress enzyme, but it's very useful to the body because it also helps to regulate sugar levels. Understand? So you need it, but you need it's in right quantities. Vile tu unakunywanga sukari, you can't not have a full cup of sugar. So now ushaelewa hiyo part, ndio. The cortisol, ushaelewa,
and I think the people who also listen to that, they also know to what part. I hope, actually, if you're joining us right now, by the way, we're talking about anxiety, aka stress imeomoka, because in a result from prolonged stress. And we still have our amazing guest Melody in the house. And trust me, don't go anywhere. Just keep on being there, because these are very powerful insights and things that can really help you on the day-to-day lives. So keep on tuning, keep on subscribing, liking, comment, and share your thoughts. Also tell us whatever you feel like you want us to talk about, because we are here for you. We're here to make life easier for us.
Tuko hapa for you.
Yes. So let's continue.
Like I was saying, our body has an enzyme.
Before you continue.
No, tulipause.
But nikona zote mimi.
Oh, unadu? Really?
How many minutes?
So far tuko yangu iko on 20, but mimi nilikuwa nimepost ile ya kwanza
21 pia.
20 kwa compose kwa kwanza.
Hata alipozi yangu na yangu iko 21, so tuko 20.
So tuseme 19 20.
Already 10 minutes. Yeah.
Yes, tumebakisha just a few things. That's when nimebreak saizi. Tumebakisha nini? What do we call it? See causes tumetackle. Tumebakisha I think symptoms, both physical and mental. Alafu na how to manage. Yeah. Hivyo. Alafu na recommendations, getting help.
Yeah.
Hivyo.
10 minutes inatosha.
Itakuwa enough for I think all this.
But hata how to manage bado ndio recommendations too, because how to manage.
Don't make a story. So that is the good thing.
When you're ready, in 3, 2, audio rolling.
Yeah. Yako sawa.
Action.
So we're talking about the enzyme.
Yeah, like I was saying, there's an enzyme in our body called cortisol. Yeah,
Okay.
Cortisol is useful to our body. It helps to regulate your sugar levels and all that. You get, but in its excess levels, it's harmful to the body. Yeah, I am not very sure, but probably maybe it's what causes ulcers also.
Okay.
You get, because it's sort of an acidic.
Yeah, because
enzyme.
Also stress, ulcers, related to
you get.
Yeah.
So this now kuna ulcers, but now that's what cortisol will do to your
body,
stomach. Sindio? To your digestive system.
Okay.
But now what it does to your limbic system, now in our brain we have a limbic system, right? A limbic system is the part that is responsible for emotions, memories. You know, it's what you use to register. It's like it's your engine. It's what keeps your
everything going.
Your limbic system. Now, in the limbic system, there's this little thing called an amygdala. It's like it's like a bean, let's say. Kitu kadogo tu ukiangalia tu ukiangalia tu picha ya brain vile imechorwa utaona kwa kitu kana kama rago hivi.
I think I've seen that.
That thing is ndio nilikuwa nakwambia, it's usually associated with fear. Yeah, it's usually active. That is what helps you remember. You get, like unaona, that's what helps you remember, and it's what helps you register what I feel emotionally also. You can tell when I'm angry, you can tell when I'm happy. You get?
Definitely.
You get. So
you're just calm and all that.
Yes. You can tell now you the other person because of that amygdala. It's responsible for that. You see? But because it's responsible for our emotions, it's also mainly associated with fear. It's now it's like your paranoia engine. Kanyaga mafuta hivi kanakwambia kimbia ama defend.
Ndio hivyo sasa.
Ukiona ndio unaonanga, ukiona mtu umekosana na yeye, you get, unajua tumekosana na mtu, so even your mood changes, unakaa like you're ready to fight. Umeona, emotionally your emotions change. Unaona, that's what now that amygdala does. Now it's active. It's also in its right in its right levels. So this cortisol, ukikuwa na stress, it keeps rising up to the way that as the cortisol goes up, so does the amygdala. You get? Inaendelea kuiactivate.
I understand that.
Now ukiendelea kuiactivate, sasa that is when your body is confused. That is why you see you're feeling hot, you're feeling cold, it's like you're in a nice cube that is sinking in a volcano. Can I move? Can I not move? Can anybody hear me? Am I even in a room? Is this what is happening? You know? Now at that point, unakuja kurealize, labda mtu amekwambia, labda maybe you're in a relationship, ndio? And your girlfriend comes and tells you, we need to talk.
Boom. Definitely. Kwanza we need to talk. That statement.
Ukishaambiwa hivyo, because of your cortisol levels already, your amygdala is active. Na vile inasema tu we need to talk. Maybe the last time ushaambiwa tu we need to talk. Probably that was a doctor telling you you've lost someone special.
Yeah.
You understand?
Okay.
So that amygdala just collects that immediately. That is what you respond to immediately after this person has said we need to talk. Na labda mtu anataka kukwambia I think tunafaa kuhama kwa hii nyumba. Unaona? Yes. Unaweza pata hata labda demu yako amekuwa na stress but akwambii. But kitu imekuwa na stress ni nyumba. So wewe unafikiria na cheat kuko nje. You already have your things in your head going and someone is like we need to talk. And you're like, oh God.
Ndio hiyo sasa leo nimepatikana.
Sasa
unaweza kutafuta kwa kichwa ni nini nilifanya wrong.
So unaona your reaction also inakuwa confusing because the reason it becomes now we've seen now how a panic attack is happening.
Yeah.
It's actually happening all the way from your body, your digestive system. It comes up to your mental. It goes all the way to your limbic system. Yeah. You get, but it's two different enzymes that are both useful to the body that will attack you, and that is only because of your response to things, or how you take things, or how you understand your body. Understand? Because me, the moment I started to realize that is what is happening for me to have a panic attack, I got so mad at myself. I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Why didn't I know this?
So I'm generating my own panic attacks.
But at the time, you didn't even know.
Yeah, you get. Yeah. Look, so for this thing to happen, obviously, my cortisol levels are high. Definitely. Why are they high? Because I'm letting them go high. Why am I letting them go high? Because I keep dwelling on things. You understand?
Okay.
Yeah? Maybe I'm not handling things the way I should. Yeah. Because if my body is reacting that way, and let me tell you, there's truth. You understand? There is truth. If your body is reacting negatively to something, sit down, question yourself. Wachanga kufikiria uko right class. That's why you're stressed.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you're not making sense, you're not going to make sense to people and you're going to be frustrated. So bado utakuwa na your stress. Sit down, analyze yourself. Ujiangalie ni nini.
So in short, that means we should understand that things will never go our way always.
Things will never go our way.
Create room for error.
Yes.
And understand that some of these things ziki happen, we are going to react differently with things and we still need to have the strength to keep on moving.
Yes, and my main point here that I want everyone to just remember kindly, you are the manufacturer of your own panic attacks.
So you need to also take control of
yes.
Yes. Before we get to taking control and managing all this anxiety and all these problems, we've talked about different types of anxiety. We've spoken about some of the causes and all that, from hereditary to the chemical to the events that happen around us also play a major role because we started with that. And then there's this one last one, but I think this one is one of the most ignored because I think people term it in a very different way. Separation anxiety. Mostly, especially kwa watoi ama teenagers, huwa wanapenda kusema homesick kama wameenda shule ama kama wako away from the parents and all that. So that also I think also plays a big role in anxiety and everything also. But that is that common when it comes to maybe adults unless because so much dependent on some things that.
By the way, let me tell you, the first time there's a time, you know me, I've always been working with children, and when children, small babies are enrolled in schools, you see them crying and they're crying and they're, so there's a time I saw a baby and this baby was having a panic attack and she was like 3, you get, akatotoka liletwa shule, akakaachwa. So in the process of crying, this baby anaanza kulia. So I go to the baby and I'm like, hey, na notice mtoto sasa amesimama ako still, but kanalia and she's shaking and all of a sudden she's peeing. And I'm like, oh my God. Let me tell you, I called that parent. I said, kako na mtoto kwanza nyumbani.
Because that happens. But
because this child is emotionally unable to just be
they're
here.
Still dependent.
They are still dependent. Try to, ama labda hata sijui kwa tunamkujia mapema. I don't know how we are going to do this, but I've had these things before and I just saw a 3-year-old having a panic attack. That broke me, by the way. It's like, oh no.
So parents should also pay attention to their kids.
Yeah, you should pay attention to your baby. Because unapatanga mtoto analia, unaona, na mtoto ajikojoleangi afanyangi anything. Analia all of a sudden hadi amepii. Hadi hali sasa anymore. Hadi ameshikilia kabisa, it's like they are choking. but you're not paying attention because maybe you're thinking huyu mtoto overreact. Na wewe kama mzazi you're like ona sasa ni nini unakatandika kidogo, you get. Juu unaona by the way ndio mtoto apate something like that, probably amekuwa ana have some issues. So hata hiyo reaction yenye itafanya aliye hivyo, it's not fitting the situation. So all of a sudden pia wewe utasikia umenini ukasema these are just the tantrums. But I think people should also watch their children when they are crying or when they are throwing that tantrum, because also body language, there's a tantrum yenye hata wewe utaona ni tantrum, but there's body language yenye unaonanga mtoto hadi unasema that didn't seem normal. You know.
Yeah, definitely. And so let's say parents out there who are always there with their kids, they should also learn to also give their kids some bit of space to learn to how to incorporate some things and absorb on how to start moving and maybe making friends and just having their own life at a young age. I think that could be very well recommended for kids and even teenagers as they keep on growing before we get to the levels that we are right now. So I think that could also work for when it comes to managing and controlling some of these types of anxiety, as well as whatever we're going to talk about next, which is the control, how to manage anxiety, how to make sure it's not really affecting our lives. And one thing that is very, very much evident as of right now is this podcast. Talking about everything that we do right now and sharing these experiences. Someone out there might be going through the same thing, but she's never spoken out. So through this podcast, I'm sure someone out there is going to learn. Someone is going to really understand why this is happening and maybe get a better way
of handling
control
it.
So how can we cope with anxiety and all the disorders in general, like anxiety disorders, that is, in general? How can we cope with them apart from, let's say, using this podcast and speaking out?
I think as someone, first of all, who is experiencing anxiety, not like me, I'm saying if you, I mean, like me personally, I'm not, I'm good.
Lucky for you.
I healed.
That is nice.
If you're experiencing anxiety, I think you need to first leave everybody else alone. Because at this point, it's you, it's your mind against you. Forget about everybody else and try to just focus on you. Even if it just means being alone for some time, and just stop it with people. Because people will always be people. But you need to heal you get. And then now if you are a person living with a person with anxiety, there's also just ethics and respect and what can we say, kuna kwanga tu na ile utu. You get. You don't know something until you wear that shoe. You get. You're not a therapist. You are not going to speak sense to this person because this person speaks sense to themselves every day and they don't even listen to themselves. Every day you tell yourself, you will be fine, stop doing this. I don't think it helps for me to have an anxiety and you're there like, Nini. Let me tell you, by the way, the first time I started having an anxiety, I was with a friend of mine. You get. And something happened. I don't even know what happened. All I remember is his reaction, and until today I've never talked to that guy again because that turned me off completely. You get. I felt so attacked by myself and somebody else, and I felt like he was seeing me struggling and he could not do anything except make it worse. Because we were talking and I'm having an anxiety attack. Already I'm freaking out and this person is standing there telling me, stop it. Can you stop it? You get. So I'm like, nigga.
You were not understanding what you're going through.
Really? You think that's not what I want? You think really you want me to stop? Well then, stop. You know, I lost all respect from that day and I moved away from that person. I said, this first of all, I don't care if you don't believe in anxieties, if you don't believe in mental illnesses, but the fact that you put me through that situation, not understanding the shoe I'm wearing, whether you believe it or not, was just mean. You get?
True.
Yeah? Like hadi hata wewe you're not au watu wanini kuja kwa mlango yako like the Jehovah Witness people. You get?
Yeah.
There's a way to send them away without being
Rude or anything.
you get?
Yeah.
There's you just says not today. Now Rudy, you don't have to be like, oh nyinyi unatembea mlango. No. There's no time for that. Like you're not the one doing it. You get? Si wewe ndio umekuja kufanya. Si wewe ndio unafanya kitu. Mbona ifanye unitreat hivyo like as if I'm also just yani nimekuwa mzii
umejiweka kwa hiyo position
hadi naweza kujishake hizi vidole vizuri niki increase heart rate yangu. Nigga is there. Like not thinking at it
that
from
must
that
have
angle.
pissed you off kabisa.
That person pissed me off completely, and I was just like, you know what? Find your life.
Okay.
Wachana na yangu ya mental illnesses.
Which I think also applies to social media as well.
Yeah.
When you're going through some of these things, you also need to stay away from social media kiasi, or to maybe manage how you deal with that, because social media depict very different pictures of people.
Yeah. And then also social media makes things worse. Unaona msee mwenye ako na anxiety, and anyone with mental illnesses anapendanga ku prove a point. Anapendanga kukua acknowledged. Okay. Anapendanga kukua by the way nimesafa. Sindio? So, umse anata social media, watu wenye wako social media na mental illnesses, already they're just speaking full blown, stuff. So msadi hata ujikuta exaggerate situation yake. You know na.
Then here say things and all that.
Mona. So, I think people just the best thing to do when you have an anxiety for me is first focus on yourself. Look within yourself, because every negative emotion, every fear is just generated by you. You get? Nobody is going to make you fear something. It's always you. It begins with you. It's within you. It's not anybody else that made you have an anxiety attack. Somebody put you down, probably a little bit, but they did not put you down that road.
That has been nice. And I hope you guys have learned something from that. I hope you've now known how to also manage your anxiety.
And one last thing I believe.
Okay.
Water, exercise. You don't need to go to the gym. That's expensive. Run around. It does help the body to reduce the levels of cortisol as well.
Okay.
You get?
Yeah.
Exercise is one way to reduce your cortisol levels, and also water.